Hello juniors, my name is Mr. G.
And my name is Mr. Sang.
We're here today to talk to you about junior planners.
So what it is pretty much just an outline of how to prepare for college, planning and all the paperwork that's required.
Mr. Sang, I've come across a lot of seniors who seem to have some challenges in really communicating what they've done, how they've done certain activities, why they've done certain activities, and matching that up into their college application. How is this junior planner going to help juniors be more prepared for applying to college?
I think pretty much is you just think ahead. You know, a lot of times seniors, they do stuff they really have no reason that they're doing. They don't know why. So all of a sudden when it comes to application time, they're trying to figure out what they've done, why they did it, and it's a lot of reflection that they never thought about. So junior planner, what it does is kind of help you think ahead. All right, you know you're going to apply for colleges, and you know you've done these activities, and usually you do it because of interest. So it's a nice way to get started, reflect on what you've done, and really kind of connect things. Okay, what's the next thing? How is it related to the first thing that you did? And building a story that you could give to colleges later on.
Alright, so there's some essential things that you need to have on your transcript. And in your case, you'll be looking at ABI. First of all, visual performing arts. You need one consecutive year of a visual performing arts class in order to graduate for college and be eligible for college, in order to graduate from high school as well as be eligible for colleges. The first visual performing arts class I can think of is Miss Abrams, any one of her ceramics or arts classes.
Yep, and also any of Rhoda's theater classes from Stagecraft or Theater Lab, any of those would be fine as well.
Mr. Z's photography class, contemporary media class, or the new multimedia class constitutes a visual performing arts class.
And the only band that does qualify is jazz band. So you have to make sure that you have one of those for one complete year to get credit.
You cannot go off campus to fulfill your visual performing arts class because there needs to be an active portfolio component when submitting a visual performing arts class. So you must complete that requirement here at your high school. And while many of you have successfully completed health class, you've done it off campus, typically at ABC Adult School, or you've done it out on your own at community college, or even BYU. Just remember, make sure it's on your transcript. If you do not see it there, come talk to Elka or one of us two to make sure you have successfully completed that class. It is a high school graduation requirement. And remember, juniors, your senior year, you will lose your senior privileges if I do not see that health requirement on your transcript.
The last thing you want to check is make sure you have enough units to graduate. You need 230. So by the end of junior year, you'll have a total, and that's how many units you need to take your senior year. So most likely some of you are going to be really little. Most of you average about 50 to 60 units per year. So just know that you need to make sure that you have 230 by the end of your senior year.
If you have taken a class at a community college or somewhere online and you want it to be put on your transcript, the sooner you do that, the better, because taking a class at Cerritos Community College, for example, gives you a grade, and we put it in the narrative box of your transcript. Failure to do that means you're going to have to say, let's say you apply to 12 different colleges, you're going to have to send 12 different Cerritos College transcripts to each one of the universities you're applying to. The amount can add up. Say $12 times 12, that's a good amount of money. Save yourself some heartache and some cash by bringing an official transcript to us, and so we can put it in the narrative box of your official transcript. Please note, it does not go into the body of your transcript. It does not get calculated as part of your GPA. Rather, we put it on the narrative box to make sure universities are well aware of your rigor and you're challenging yourself with that community college class.
One thing you want to keep in track of is the testing dates and the deadlines to sign up for it. So you have the SAT or ACT. We recommend you take one of each just to see which one is your strength. So you do want to get started early. You don't want to wait till your senior year and realize you want to take both of them and take it twice. Just remember that it'll be nice to have your scores, at least one, when you're applying. So you want to just make sure that you look at it, go to collegeboard.com or actstudent.org and just check out the dates, register on time, and then do your best. Do the preps that they offer and the examples, or get a prep book.
Now, the UC systems no longer require subject tests, correct?
That's right.
But there are some instances where you really want to consider taking the subject to exams. What are some of those instances, Mr. Sang?
All right, so for some majors, they really want to see you go deeper into your subjects, and they want to kind of see that your grades match your knowledge. So let's say you want to be a certain major, like a history major. It'll be nice to see SAT 2 in that subject, or a science. It'll be nice to see that. Some schools actually require SAT 2s, so you just have to be sure that if you're engineering, you have to take SAT 2 level 2 math. It is essential. They want to see it. Physics is also a nice option, but the math level 2 is really essential for engineers. So you just have to look out what majors you're looking at, what schools you're applying to, because even though it's optional, some still like to see it.
All juniors will be taking the PSAT.
So the PSATs are really important because it's pretty much how you qualify for national merit, and that's actually a really nice honor to get, and it's also a nice way of getting scholarships in the future. So you do want to take that test seriously. So you just come, sleep well, do your best, and make sure that you hopefully could get recognized as a semifinalist or a finalist.
So at that time, if I chose to take the ACT and not the SAT because I tend to have done better in my diagnostics, and I qualify as a semi-finalist for national merit, but I've only taken the ACT, do I have to take the SAT?
Yes, you do have to take it. So if you are recognized as a national merit scholarship or semi-finalist, you do have to take the SAT at least one to
You
qualify.
have to really be aware of not just your dreams. We encourage you wholeheartedly to dream and go after your reach universities, but you want to be practical. You want to look at Naviance and look at the past 5 years of history of Whitneyites and see where they have achieved admission letters in terms of certain colleges. To have a 3.2 and want to go to Stanford, for example, that's great, and no one's going to stop you from applying, but be realistic, that's more of a dream. Very much a reach. You want to, at the end of the day, be in a position where you have some choices come springtime, and you get to go visit some of these colleges and make a decision as to which one is the best fit for you. But we encourage you to divide your college list into the following categories: reach school or dream school, a couple of well-matched or best fit schools, and there's two or three of those, as well as some safety schools. And the way you determine that is partially by going on Naviance and getting some insight as to how past students have done in terms of getting admitted to those colleges.
So you want to make sure you start thinking now, really. You want to know, okay, which subjects are your strongest, which teachers know you the best, and if they don't know you, it really is now the time to kind of invest time with them. Talk to them. It doesn't always have to be on content, but just about life, about what you like, what you don't like, and really build a relationship. Then the following year, what you could do is then ask them for a letter of rep. They're going to represent you in that letter. It's actually more important than anything else. It's their really insight of who you are, and the colleges really take note of what your teachers write. So because of that, you want to give them enough time. You want to give them at least 4 weeks to really have the time to think about, develop, and write a really good, strong letter advocating for you. So you just want to make sure you give them the time and really you have to commit as well and get to know your teacher so they can write a real personal letter.
All right, I'd like to talk about the personal statement. It's not too early to get a jump start and look at these questions. So take a minute and let's examine some examples of personal questions that we're putting up on the screen right now. Mr. Sang, these are hard questions, even for adults to answer. I look at some of those, I think I would have a challenging time answering some of these questions. How is a 16, 17-year-old student supposed to begin to address these questions?
That's a good point. So it is very hard. It's hard for us, and it's going to be hard for you. It's hard for everybody. That's why we really recommend you get started early, because it does take a lot of drafts. It takes more than once. The first one is trying to get an idea, then you're trying to get what you're trying to get pushed through. Then you want to kind of mold it into something that's very good representation of you. So you just want to make sure that you give the time investments. You want to make sure that you have looked at all your stuff, what you've done, reflect on it, what you want to do in the future, and get people's opinions about it, and then using those opinions to kind of formulate something that really does represent you well on those really tough questions.
I know it sounds kind of cliche, but your personal statement really is an organic document. It's living, it's breathing, it's going to grow with you, and if you get started now, the better off you'll be in the future.
All right, so what we have here is the junior check-in. It's kind of like a nice outline to kind of give you something to work on throughout the year or the remainder of the year. So it's kind of a place to put your SAT scores, your ATC scores, and your activities. Kind of plan it out, see where your focus is, and maybe it can also help you focus what you want to do this junior year summer.
In terms of your activities list, the more you reflect upon what you've done, as we stated earlier with the personal statement, but in addition to the activities section of the junior planner, it's very important you really reflect upon how you've grown and you've developed. So for example, I once read a college application which stated track captain, and the description was, I ran. I really don't think that served the best interest of that particular candidate at that time, irrespective of how strong their GPA was. To simply describe your engagement level as I ran, you're doing yourself a disservice. So make sure you spend ample time, and that's why we're having you start early on this junior planner.
I know, you just want to make sure that it's more than that. Because being captain, it requires so much more. You're a mentor for the younger runners. You are also a leader. You're an example. You probably have committed in time and planning what your events you're doing, some activities. So it requires more than that. So we want to make sure that when you're writing it down, you also learn how to express exactly what you did. You want to sell yourself correctly instead of I ran.
So on page 2 of the junior planner, we actually have some thoughtful academic and extracurricular thoughtful questions. I know it's kind of difficult or corny, or you may want to blow this off. Let me tell you, you're going to eventually have to tackle this way of thinking. So why not start now? We strongly encourage you, in fact, we're requiring you to. And the due date for this, by the way, is
December 1st.
That means it should be uploaded onto Naviance under the journal section by December 1st. We will have meetings with you as well, and we'll keep you abreast as to when the schedule is.
All right, so we just want to thank you. Make sure you upload it December 1st into Naviance so we can get started in looking at your plan. And we'll see you then.
If any of you need some help or so guidance, remember, come on into our office hours, reach us during lunch, before school, or schedule a formal appointment with us. I know we're busy with seniors right now, but we're still going to make plenty of time for all of you out there.